Dr. Cooper, thanks a lot for talking to us again. Is Nigeria losing the battle against Boko Haram?
Well, Peter, thank you very much. That is certainly not the case. You know, it's impossible that an insurgency group, no matter how ubiquitous they are, no matter how ferocious they are, they cannot overpower the government of Nigeria. An insurgency warfare is a guerrilla warfare. It's an asymmetrical warfare, and therefore it is very, very difficult to contain, and it is very, very difficult to really keep them in perfect and total check.
Okay, and Dr. Cooper, just hold that thought. Hold that thought. I've got Fumi Yonda, who you know very well, in the studio with me. Do Nigerians believe it?
No, Dr. Cooper, good evening. Good to see you again after such a long time. Nigerians don't believe because as Nigerians, we recognize that many of our institutions, including the army, have suffered decades of decay and almost destruction. And because of that reason, we have huge capacity issues. I don't doubt that the government wants to do this. I don't doubt that the army wants to contain the insurgency. But there are decades of decay that needs to be reversed for us to be able to do this. We are at a dire time. The government actually requires support, not just of the international community, but of the people of Nigeria. I do think that it's time for the parties to stop politicking and get together and face this insurgency.
Dr. Cooper, do you think this is a case of too much politics and not nobody trying to really get to the root of the matter and get things done?
Well, first of all, let me correct the impression given by Fumi. It is not correct to say that the military has suffered decades of decay. You know, the Nigerian military, in particular, had been, constantly involved in, combats, outside Nigeria, peacekeeping efforts, in Sierra Leone, in Liberia, in Congo, and elsewhere. So, this is an army that is primed. It is not true to say that the army
if I can just cut in here,
we have a military.
The last time you and I spoke,
handle this.
The last time you and I spoke, you said that Boko Haram had been confined to a small part of northeastern Nigeria. I mean, with the latest attacks in Abuja,
that is correct.
Surely even you don't believe that.
No, Peter, you shouldn't talk like that. What I said was that when Boko Haram started, they were they infiltrated and were operational in 11 states of the federation. And I said they have now been confined to a very tiny area of the country, which is the northeast, and in particular Borno State. That is still correct today. That's a fact. You no longer hear of them. Not much activity is even taking place in Yobe, or in Adamawa, or in Kaduna, or in Bauchi, or in Gombe, or in Niger State, or in Kogi State. It is okay.
Dr. Cooper, I just want to bring Fumi back into this conversation now.
So this is the truth.
Fumi,
yes, please.
What are Nigerians saying about this fight against Boko Haram? What do they make of all this violence?
I mean, I go back quickly to that issue of Nigerian soldiers and even police being good outside of Nigeria. In the first instance, soldiers on ground, as well as certain military personnel high up, have said publicly, and some insinuated that they do have a challenge with coping with this insurgency. That's on one hand. And then the other issue where they are good outside of Nigeria, that's because even in other countries that are at war, they still have certain structures and institutions that work, that unfortunately have broken down in Nigeria. As I said, it's not as though the soldiers themselves or the army is unwilling. Like many other institutions in Nigeria, we have to face up to the fact it is broken.